people in as they join. But happy Wednesday, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. Um, wow, we just got another influx of people trying to get in. Okay, so obviously, I am not Stacy. She could not be here today, but I am logged in under her account. I was able to change my name, did not change the picture. So if you see Stacy's picture, she's not here. So a couple updates from Stacy. She wanted me to let everyone know that judges are needed for the LPC Awards contest. So if you're interested in helping out with that, reach out to Stacy and I will drop her contact information in the chat here in a minute. And also, just a reminder that we are 2 months out from AMS. So register if you have not done that already. And we really look forward to seeing everyone in St. Louis toward the end of July. I will also drop a link for registration, AMS registration in the chat here in a minute. Uh, so again, if you've just joined us, hello, thanks for being here. I am Rachel Waggy, the co-chair for the Education Committee of the Livestock Publications Council, and we run this mostly monthly meeting of coffee and collaboration to just kind of spend a little bit of time learning and hearing from guest speakers. So today I'm really excited to have Hailey Gilbreath with the Kansas Beef Council on with us. She just got back from Social Media Marketing World, a conference um, that she attends yearly or tries to attend yearly, and she always comes back with a lot of great information. So I thought this would be a really good um, topic to cover, especially with as much as social has been changing recently. So Hailey has her or got her bachelor's degree from Missouri State University in Ag Comm. And currently, she's the director of communications for the Kansas Beef Council. Before that, she was the communications manager for United Sorghum Checkoff Program there in Lubbock. So, Hailey, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I want to say a huge thank you for allowing me to come chat with y'all. I'm super excited to get to share this. I love anything and everything social media. It's truly kind of a passion of mine. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy the ever evolving landscape of it, and I think that's why I like it so much. So I'm really excited to get to talk about this. And thank you, Rachel, very much for that incredible introduction. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can everybody see my screen all right? Cool. Okay. And I'm a yapper too. So I love to just have conversations. I'm all about dialogue. So as I'm going through this stuff, if you guys have questions, feel free if you guys want to interject and ask those questions or put them in the chat, whatever. And then we'll definitely have some time at the end to be able to chat through kind of some of these things. Because one of the main discussion of today and the topic today is going to be AI, because that was a huge conversation point at Social Media Marketing World. So, um, let's see if I can get there we go. Okay. So what is Social Media Marketing World? So this is a conference. I've actually followed him pre-COVID for quite a while. So his name's Michael Stelzner. He's the kind of creator of his ecosystem that he's built out. And he actually has a podcast called The Social Media Examiner, and he's got a YouTube channel and everything else. And he is, I mean, incredible at being able to find all of the experts across all the platforms and all the fields and truly bring them together to just share updates, things that are going on, what's happening, and again, that ever evolving landscape of social media. And so this is a 2.5, 3 day-ish conference out in California. I had the incredible opportunity to attend back-to-back years. So I went last year, and then I went again this year, and it was just a couple weeks ago. Last year was in San Diego, this year was in Anaheim. And so everything, of course, was Disney themed and all the Disney things, all the things. Well, so this year, and I'd like to give a little context with this too, because again, we're going to be talking about AI, and I think it's important to note this. So last year, it was very much the new thing of AI, right? And it's like, how do you incorporate AI into social media? How is it going to work with content creation? How do you do this with, Instagram, Facebook, whatever? And it was all about how to write prompts to get things that you need. And I even said this kind of before going in this year. I was like, I'm very, very excited to see how they talk about it this year. And in that 12-month span, it went from here's how to write a prompt to now they're talking about AI agents and agentic AI and skills and playbooks, and Claude is the thing right now. And it's like how to build out entire ecosystems of agents that automate things for you and can help reduce the, I guess, mundane tasks, if you want to call it, um, to help simplify you and help you be more human. And so it's truly an incredible conference. I encourage anybody and everybody to go if you have the opportunity to. So the first one I want to talk about, this is one of the keynotes. Her name is Shannon McKinstry. I absolutely rave about her all the time. She truly is one of the best experts in Instagram social media creation. Follow her on in the next slide. I got her handle on there too to follow her. But she's one of the best truly at just keeping up with what's happening and how much things are changing. And this year, so preface it, last year she was a regular session speaker, and that's where I found her, and I have followed her and love her stuff. This year she was a keynote speaker, and she really focused a lot on connection and human connection in the kind of AI world that we live in, and how people are starved for that human connection. And so she really talked about how to kind of navigate both of those things. And she talked about how social media has it's essentially kind of created this loneliness epidemic, and it's like how can people connect with each other through these platforms. And so one of the first examples she starts talking about are her hooks. So she's kind of coined as like the hook fairy. And if you scroll her Instagram, you'll see she gives you free hooks. She gives you free examples and things to use that you can be able to just very easily plug and play. And that's why I love her stuff. And I myself have used quite a few of them actually, and they have done very well. Um, and so she goes on to talk about this, human connection and, creating your content in a specific way that makes people feel something. And so one of the first examples she gave, I thought this was hilarious, was she found this reel that says Instagram is so weird. I can just post a video of myself driving an old Range Rover to some Pink Floyd, and a bunch of dudes will just comment, hell yeah. And sure enough, she opens the comment section and it's a bunch of dudes saying hell yeah, because they connected with that. They felt something. It made them feel like that's me. That's I love that. That's who I am. And it resonates with them very, very well. And so she really emphasized and drove home the point that it's we identify with the content that we consume. So she goes into kind of like how to do this, right? And then she also talks about, things that used to work that no longer work now. And also too, just a kind of a like a another note too, a big common theme and thing that I kept hearing throughout the entire conference was things that worked 2 years ago no longer work today. Um, and I think that just really again speaks to that whole social media is an ever evolving landscape, and it's like it can change from day to day very, very quickly. Especially in the world of AI. So she talks about her RISE method and kind of goes through the 4 points of how to make your content recognizable, make it familiar, how to make it with an identity and make it clear of who it's for or by, make it specific, which makes it believable, and then the effect, which makes us stay. And so going back to that example of, talking about the Pink Floyd and the Range Rover, it really made people feel something. And I also put on here too. So she gave out a free template of hooks and how to create hooks. And so her handle is on here. I really encourage you guys to go follow her. If you are curious about how to improve your Instagram content strategy, about just how to change your content. If you're kind of stuck in that, 200 view jail, like how to bust out of that to be able to, play into the algorithm to get more views and get more engagement. And that's the other thing too they talked about is that it's kind of switching a little bit to now to where it's not just hooks that matter. It's not just your caption that matters. Now engagement matters. Are people commenting? Are people sharing? Are people saving your content? That's what matters as well too, to continue that propulsion into the algorithm. Um, do we have any questions so far? Ooh, okay. Like I said, she's one of my favorites. I really do encourage you guys to follow her. I think she does a really great job at, talking about, like I said, just the human connection. It's like, how do we connect with our audience? How do we connect with our people, in today's day and age? So the next thing I want to talk about is updates to Facebook, and Instagram advertising. So and Pinterest also kind of falls into this as well too. So for those of you who are doing advertising campaigns on the back end of Facebook, this pertains to us. So I was very intrigued about this, and this is why I also kind of chose this too as my other main topic to talk about to y'all today, was because I know that there's several people who run ads, and are utilizing this, and I think these changes are very important to know. So about a few months ago, I think this was probably, what was this, February-ish, Facebook kind of overhauled and they started adding in AI features. So it's this AI, they call it AI plus advantage, on the back end of Meta ads. So they are now getting to the point where everything is AI assisted. So it was actually funny. I was even telling Rachel this. We did an ad campaign and I used it and I was participating in it without like not realizing that this is what was happening, until I attended this session and I was like, oh, that clicks, that makes sense. So they have started, on your audience targeting. They have included, it's called AI plus advantage audience, to where now you only have to plug in a handful of keywords and AI will go out and find relevant audiences, find your relevant target audience market, and serve your ads to them. So it kind of helps eliminate that. Whereas before, you were having to go in and manually target and just think of any and every keyword, any and every interest, any and every demographic. It is essentially, I think, what their goal is to simplify this down so you can be able to run more ads, do more creative, hit a better target audience for a lower cost per result on anything, any part of your metrics. And so I thought this was a really interesting fact, is in 2005, Meta reported over 196 billion with a B in ad revenue, and I mean, just clearly far exceeds regular TV advertising. And it's funny, on the Kansas Beef Council side, we kind of experienced that as well too last year and especially this year. We did some TV broadcast advertisement last summer, but in all honesty, our Facebook advertising and even our connected television advertising, so like Hulu, Disney Plus, and everything else, those did significantly better than just the broadcasting because that's where people are. That's where they're at. They're on their phones. They're watching, streaming services. That's where the people are. And so Facebook, we are now in this world called Andromeda, and that's that AI assisted. And in the next probably 6-ish months, Facebook's going to move to, now it's called GEM, Generative Ad Recommendation Model. So what that is it's going to start taking your content and pretty much curating everything for you to where you just have to go in and set up an ad campaign and it does everything for you. And so this session that I attended, she was explaining how what you need to be doing now is testing creatives and uploading as many different creatives as you possibly can for AI, to kind of start looking and recognizing and understanding your tone, understanding your brand voice, figuring out your audience and who you want to target specifically. And because it's going to get to the point where it's a very simplified process and AI will hone in on that and do it all for you and very fine-tuned. Any questions so far? Great, we're cruising. I like this. Okay, next thing I want to talk about is AI agents. I I saw this meme. This is going to be my new favorite go-to meme. Because if anybody's a cat owner like myself, this is. Does anybody else kind of look at the AI logos and be like, "Oh, that looks strangely familiar." And so I just had to include this in here because it cracked me up, and it was just very funny. So. Um, in the world of AI, if you are like me, you are probably overwhelmed because there is just so much going on. There's so many platforms. What do I use? I don't even know what to do. I am just trying to make Instagram posts to keep my algorithm happy. If that's you, raise your hand. I think there's a lot of us that are doing that. So, there were several sessions that I attended on how to create your own agents. So, if you're not familiar with AI agents, what's happening right now is that people are able to create entire ecosystems of skills, of playbooks, of projects where they can be automated with triggers, and it can become a tool that helps you in anything, in content creation, in newsletters, daily tasks, whatever it may be. So to give you an example, you could set up an AI agent that is connected to your Canva. You can connect it to your newsletter platform, so like the MailChimps of the world, and you can fine tune it to where it will, like for example, for the newsletter, it can create a newsletter for you. It can write the content, upload the content, create an entire newsletter for you to be able to publish out. You can connect it to Canva. You can upload an arsenal of assets, images, videos, whatever, to let's say a Google Drive, Google folder, and you can have it connected to where, and then you create, or have it connected to Canva, and then create maybe like a basic template to where it goes in and it starts pulling and it creates designed templates for you. And this can be something as simple as just like you need like a simple carousel posted on anything, honestly, but you just need content. It can do that for you. Um, this is where, and I know that again, this goes back to kind of that whole conversation of like, where are we at? This is scary. How do we know if it's good information or bad information? And this is where I think that us as humans, I don't think that we can just set this up and let it go. I think us as humans, we need to be good stewards of AI, because at the end of the day, it's only as smart as the things that you put into it, and it does not understand context if you don't give it context. So like it very much it's I always refer to it as the like in grade school, they taught you how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it's like, how do you teach somebody to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? You have to be very detailed in how to do it. It's like you have to, open the bread container, pull out the bread, open the peanut butter. You have to be very detailed with what you give it and very specific. And so I truly think that this could be an incredible tool that we can use as marketers and communication professionals in agriculture. But I do think that at the end of the day, us as humans, we are the gatekeepers. We are the ones that have to be the final say so in this. And we have to be the ones that say, okay, this is, good information. This is great. I need to fine tune this a little bit here. Or this is great. And green flag, let's go. Now, I think, let's see, my next slide. So here, okay, this poor guy, he is my use case on what not to do. So this was another session that I attended, and as we kind of gain momentum from talking about our AI agents and everything else, we're going to move into this. So this guy, his name's Anik, and he is truly incredible, truly so smart, genius, honestly. I mean, he was able to create an entire clone of himself. However, so as I was attending this session, he starts talking about how he used to do YouTube content creation, and I use the word used to because he still is, but there's a caveat, and I'll get to it. He even said he had a very expensive studio that he's built out that he used to do filming in, and would make all these YouTube videos and everything else. And then he goes on to say that he hasn't filmed in it for 6 months. He he starts explaining how he has cloned himself. He created his own AI agent and he uploaded hours and hours of content and hours of footage of himself. He uses 11 labs and it fine-tuned his voice to where now he creates videos of himself that are his clones. So this image that's on the slide here, this is not him. This is AI. So you guys can go to his YouTube channel and watch his videos. And anything done in the last 6 months, if you're watching it, that's not actually him. That's not him speaking. It's clone. And talk about things being scary. Because when you're listening to it, it's down to even the voice inflections. Like it is incredible how good it is at creating the content, doing everything that he wants it to do. And it did a fantastic job. However, this is what got me, and this is where I was like, hold on, this is the problem, I think, with what's happening right now. So he proceeds to go on and say how he gets a call from, I think it was the Washington Post or the New York Times, one of them. And they called him and said, hey, we want to do an interview with you over this organization that you just did a review on. And he goes, what? And it was like at that moment, my colleague that was sitting with me, it's like that slow moment, you just turn and look at each other like, did he really just say that? Because it was clicking what he was saying. He had no idea what he was putting out. He was just letting his AI agent create videos of himself, content and everything else, and just pushing it out to the world. And he had no idea what he was saying. Now, this is what I don't agree with. And that's where I come back to the, being good stewards of AI as humans, is that I don't think we can just let AI create everything and then roll with it. I do think that we need to, again, have that human gatekeeper, that human barrier. And review everything before it's published, because I mean that's what makes us who we are, right? That's what makes us human, is our credibility at the end of the day. And if we don't have a credibility, what are we? So it was I do think it was good, at least for the informational side of that, to be like, okay, like this is a good reminder as to why we still need to do final checks before we publish anything that's AI created.
Haley.
Yes.
Sarah asked in the chat, if you have to be so detailed with the information you give an agent, why wouldn't you just do it yourself?
That's a great question. So I think that's up to you, kind of personally, right? So, and even my sister was asking me this. I think even last night we are having this conversation because she's like, well, what are mundane tasks to you, and why would you have an agent do that versus just yourself? So same thing, like Sarah, you asked, and I think it's a conversation of, time, right? So like as communicators, we have to wear several hats. And especially in my role, it's like when you're having to do so many different things, if you can automate maybe even just the simplest little tasks. So having to write like recaps or doing marketing reports, stuff that like more internal that I have to give to my boss or whatever. If I can automate that, I can have more time to create content. I can have more time to be human, do all of those other things. Does that kind of help answer your question?
Um, per she says yes, but
Okay.
it makes another question for me,
Okay, okay.
which would be if you're so, or I guess maybe just some clarification is if you are very specific with it that one time, and so you spend as much time teaching the agent as you would have spent just doing it yourself, does that mean in the future you don't have to be so specific?
Correct. Yes. So that's the other problem with it's not, I don't know if it's a problem because there is a solution for it. So right now, Claude in any agentic software, when you create a new chat, it's like a goldfish, it forgets. It starts a brand new memory bank. It's an incredible genius with amnesia. And so that's where you then there's other AI platforms like Obsidian, like Railway, like Supabase, that are kind of like the brains that fix that memory issue. So that way it's this memory bank of like everything that you've created and everything you've uploaded and all these projects that you've created to help with this automation system. It doesn't forget it. It is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot for me. And I admit, even I don't fully understand all of it. Because there's just so much to this. And I will say, personally, I think we're in a space where like it's starting to kind of grow and evolve more than what we as humans can comprehend. And I know that kind of sounds contradictory to kind of everything that I just said, but again, it's this world where it's like I think that we have to continually stay on top of it and continually educate ourselves and know what's happening. So again, we can go back and be a good steward and make sure that we're not using it for the powers of evil and we are using it for the powers of good, if that makes sense. Okay. So, kind of my thoughts and takeaways on this. Again, like I said, I think AI is Pandora's box that we've opened, and it's not going away ever, I don't think, unfortunately. And so, again, it begs the question of like how, like, if it's not going away, it's like I do think we need to educate ourselves on this, at least knowing the risks, at least knowing what it can do, and how can we use it to help us in our day-to-day tasks? How can we use it to be tools and not make us, how do I word this? Let's see here. Let me say it this way. I think there's a misconception right now of people thinking that it can take over and do everything for them and they can sit back. It's almost creating a little bit of a laziness epidemic, and I that's where I don't agree. I think that it needs to be utilized as a tool and again still have that human gatekeeper, that final like, nah, nope, 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 nope. This isn't okay. I don't like this. I think it actually needs to be this. Because again, going back to the Anik guy, I think that's kind of not by any means calling him lazy, but I think that's kind of what he was doing was just letting it go create his content and he was off doing other things instead of just making sure that you constantly have your thumb on it, you constantly are watching, you're constantly looking and allowing it to be a tool and not a crutch and not take over. Any questions so far? So I kind of covered a lot, and that there was a lot in that. So I am happy to open it up for questions. I think we've probably got what about 15-ish minutes left, Rachel? I'd love to be able to have discussion conversations if you guys have questions.
My first note is that your session is at from 2:30 to 4.
Yes, 2:30 to 4. I forgot to change that time. Thank you, Rachel.
Yep. Um, I have a question to start with. Um, have you heard or did they talk about at the conference any preference for AI generated content or anything like that in socials, like in the social algorithms?
Not not anyone specific because there are so many. Claude was the biggest one though. The vibes that I got was ChatGPT is kind of like out and Claude is the one to use right now.
I guess I mean like in content created by AI for
Okay.
social media,
Okay.
does it get boosted above um
No,
organic?
they'll not necessarily. They never, and of course they'll never say that. I don't think so. So just to clarify, you're asking if AI generated content gets better results in the algorithm than human generated content?
Yeah,
No, I don't think so. I think again, I think it goes back to your hooks, what your content is, and if it makes people feel something.
thank you. Can you see the chat or do you need me to?
I can see the chat.
Okay.
Okay, Rick, you asked, I curate a newsletter from about 200 media sources. Can I create an agent to help with that? What could you give me maybe some more specifics on that, on what you're looking for?
Sure. I review 200, 250 media sources regarding animal health and veterinary medicine.
Okay.
And so that's publications, that's websites, that's
Okay.
podcasts. And we boil that down into 20 or 30 of the most relevant tips for animal health professionals. So could I train an agent to do some of that work for me?
Yep, absolutely. You can train an agent to do anything you want to. So you could honestly probably create one to where it's like funneling in that content and just say, "Hey, I'm creating this newsletter. Um, I want it to be the top 20 tips." And is it like a weekly newsletter, I'm assuming?
It is.
It's a weekly newsletter. Yeah, and you can even set it up on a trigger to where every Monday at 8 a.m. it is triggered to go through all of that content and just start sorting through and creating your list of your top 20 for your newsletter.
So just give it a list of sources and the type of information I'm looking for.
Yes, it's a little bit more detailed than that.
Okay.
There's definitely some details to it. I'm happy to hop on a call with you or give me a call or email me or whatever. I'm also happy to give you some resources from people who give out free tips and everything else on how to set up your agents.
Okay.
But do you, I think it also, it would require a paid plan. So do you have a Claude plan?
I have a paid with Claude or Chat GPT. I don't remember which, but
One of the ones. Okay. I do encourage you to use Claude because I think Claude is a little bit more intuitive than ChatGPT at this moment.
okay.
But yeah, like I said, I'm more than happy to chat with you later on and after this, if you want.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Appreciate the help.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michaela says, do you have any tips on how to get your content posted social or that we publish on websites to get highlighted via AI or specific keywords to use for AI to pull with Illinois pork? So if people are Googling using AI to ask questions about pork, I'd love to help get accurate info. Okay, so just to clarify, Michaela, are you asking like, is this like a trend question and like trying to figure out like what people are demanding to be able to curate content towards that?
Almost more like, say, like people are using AI to like as consumers to get info about ag. Like, how do we as ag make sure we're posting keywords and posting social and website to like help them get the accurate info? Or like, what would AI like? How do we know anything about like what they pull to get consumers accurate info? Almost on the other side.
Okay. Yeah. So, as far as specific keywords, I'm not sure I can answer that. I mean, maybe if I answer it this way, it can help answer your question. So, to give an example, we actually just overhauled our entire website. We redid it, redesigned it, everything else, and we optimized it for AI search. So, I'm sure if you guys have gotten onto Google and if you've Googled something, it's not even like websites anymore. It's now you get the AI generated summary at the top. So to answer your question, AI is pulling keywords and stuff. And so what we did is, I don't know specific keywords, but what I did do is I asked Claude. Everything I did, I plugged into Claude and I said, "Hey, here's what we're doing. This is I've set this up and we are overhauling our website to be AI searchable and AI search optimized. Do not change the context of what this is. Just help edit keywords and help change wording a little bit so it makes it more searchable for AI engines and LLMs." Does that kind of help answer your question?
What was that last thing you said? And LLMs?
LLMs, language learning models. So the AI, so ChatGPT, Claude,
Okay.
um, Copilot, Gemini, all of those different ones.
So based off of what you were saying about your website overhaul, can you give a specific example or maybe just go a little bit deeper into what needed to change for AI to, because essentially this is like SEO, right? Like
Yes.
you're trying to rise to the top of the search. Um, so what had to change on your website to allow that to happen?
Are you talking like the wording specifically or structure or all the above?
I don't even know.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
kind of, like just one example of something that you're like, well, AI wouldn't have picked this up. I think the question said another way is what is informing the AI generated summaries at the top of Google searches?
That's a great question. I'm not sure I can properly answer that question. Um, I will have to circle back to that one because I don't want to answer it. I'm not confident in my answer of being able to speak to that quite yet. But Casey, I'm happy to get your contact information, circle back to you on that one. Um, as far as what we've changed on our end, it could very much be wording. So I personally think a lot of it is also tied to this generational thing. So Gen Z is kind of a driving force for a lot of this and how they speak. So they also talked about this at the conference and that creating your content in the way that people speak and maybe not necessarily like perfectly um, with perfect grammar and perfect punctuation. So instead of saying, give me, people say literally type out gimme, like Gimme, like how people, type or text nowadays. And so I think like maybe not necessarily to that drastic effect on our website, of course, but maybe more in that conversational tone speak of like whenever people are searching things, they're typing things out, it's how they speak. And so looking for the responses of how that, like almost like a dialogue, if that makes sense. And then the other thing too is FAQs. AI is big with the FAQ section right now because I think it is going in and looking for those frequently asked questions, that quick, digestible, easily bite-sized content that it can process through and give to people. And personally, this is another thought. I think talking about that FAQ, the shorter, more bite-sized, is because I think that's the world we live in, right? Our attention spans have been ruined by TikTok, have been ruined by, social media, and everything is just so quick because it now you have a second when talking about content creation, you have a second and a half to get somebody's attention. And so I think that has also translated into wording and verbiage and content and writing things out and how your website's displayed, how your website is laid out, how your content's laid out, how, your blog posts, your writing, everything else. And I think that's what AI is picking up on. That was a really long worded explanation, but does that kind of help answer your question?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Um, I mean, I'm happy to let other people ask questions, but if, since there's nothing in the chat currently and no one's popped up to say anything, I am curious maybe what KBC has seen, switching more, I mean, maybe it's been with AI or not, but into the content creation mode through socials. Um, Maybe things you've tried that have been successful for you, just pretty generic or not generic, but broad, like style of content or something like
Yeah.
that.
So for me, I'm actually in the middle right now. I am creating this agent, and so my girl over here, Shayna McKinstry, I am taking her hook examples and I am uploading them into an agent, and I'm creating an agent to be able to uh create hooks, content, captions, ideas even as well too. So this was kind of what was brewing in my head whenever I was going through this conference is I'm like, oh, how can I create this ecosystem to be able to help generate content that is trending to fit in with the trends and everything else. And so that's what I'm personally doing. I'm in the middle of it right now, building out this system. And so I'm actually really excited for it. I am happy to report back after I get it maybe completed and fine-tuned. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was I saw Sarah's question too. I knew
Okay.
where you were going. So Sarah says, what are some telltale signs that someone used AI to create written pieces of content so that we can edit AI content to filter those out and make it look more human? So RIP to the M dash. I think that AI has ruined the M dash, unfortunately. Uh, So it's kind of funny. I actually had this conversation with my boss this morning about this. And this is again where I think context matters. And you have to be able to upload things that you have done in the past that is your work. Uh, so it knows your speaking voice and knows your brand voice and knows your tone. So it doesn't create quote unquote AI slop that people just are scrolling and be like, ah, that's AI generated, and they move on. Um, uh, yes, I agree. You also can pry the M dash out of my cold dead hands. I agree. I love the M dash. Um, RIP again. But so I think that's the difference. Again, that goes back to that human steward. I think that goes back to, making sure that we are the gatekeepers and we are producing good content and producing or utilizing AI tools for the powers of good instead of evil. Is that, knowing that you need to be uploading stuff that you've already done, examples, give it examples, show it who you are, what you do, your voice, your tone, things that you're looking for, your goals, so it can learn. That way, it produces the things that still sound like you. And there's not that gap between, oh, they went from them producing this to now it's AI producing this, if that makes sense.
Mhm. So it's pretty important then to have or to help inform AI with examples of your past content.
Correct. Context and examples matter. And there's no such thing as too much. Like the more you give it, the better your output of what you receive is going to be.
Mhm.
It's a child. Like you have to train it and teach it everything. And again, that goes back to, again, this is an opinion. This goes back to what I think people are just using it, plugging in stuff and hoping to get a good response out of it. And then they may not get what they're looking for. Because I think people aren't realizing that it's like, oh no, you have to add a whole bunch of, like, you have to give it it knows nothing. It has no idea who you are or your brand or your tone or your voice. It knows nothing. So you have to give it that in order to be able to receive good outputs.
Okay. Well, Hailey, I first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. I think I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
drop your email in the chat real
Yeah.
quick before I end it in case people want it. It's Hailey at kansasbeef.org.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. .org.
Okay, so there's her email, and of course you could reach out to myself or Stacy anytime if you wanted to get in touch with Hailey. But again, thank you so much for joining us today, and stay tuned for the June session. Still working on a few details for that, but hopefully that information will be coming soon. Otherwise, I will let everybody get back to what they're doing today. And again, thanks so much, Hailey. That was
Thank you.
a lot of information, but a lot of really good information. So
Thank you very
we
much. Thank you.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Thank you for your time.